My name is Elise Derby. I'm a junior television radio major with concentrations in producing, pre-production, and on-air performance, with minors in honors and legal studies. This semester, while studying abroad here in London, I had the unique opportunity to work for Crook Productions as a research intern. Crook Productions is a UK-based television company specializing in factual entertainment, and archive shows. They do a lot of hidden camera shows and short reality television specials that deal with sleight of hand, psychology, and day-to-day life. They create ideas for new television shows, write contracts, and sell shows to various television networks, even online media platforms like Netflix and Facebook. Once they've been picked up by a network, a cast is put together, locations are found and booked, and the entire thing is shot and edited. Most of the locations are off-site, but the company does have its own editors that they employ. They have created shows for channels here in the UK, like ITV and BBC, as well as a few channels in the States. I worked mostly in the research department, so it was my job to find out as much information as possible and compile it in a succinct, easy-to-read document and send it to Matt, my supervisor, or whichever producer the information was for. Sometimes I would work on large projects with a few other researchers, but often I'd be doing smaller-scale projects and working independently. During my final week, I had the opportunity to participate in location scouting for a new television program. This was a good opportunity for me to see another part of the production process outside of the office. I learned from another producer about the importance of asking specific questions and being kind and creating trust between yourself and the owner of the location. It's important to form good working relationships with as many people as possible so that you might have the ability to work with them on later projects. It's also just good manners. I also had the short opportunity to practice writing treatments for shows. A treatment is a synopsis of the show and the format in an organized, concise way to be presented to television network executives to be approved to move forward. They often include examples of what the show may feature, locations that have been tentatively locked down, and potential cast and crew. This was especially beneficial as a well-constructed treatment should convince executives to pick up your idea for a film or show, which is especially important if you actually want to make money. I haven't had an opportunity to observe other companies' inner workings within the UK. I have been told by a few of the people that I work with that the television industry in the States is an incredibly different experience to work in and be a part of. The unionizing is a little bit different. Sometimes PAs or lower-level crew members are getting paid more than the people producing or writing, and there's sometimes more red tape in getting things approved, and casting and finding locations becomes more difficult. For example, United States television companies have to comply with different laws about nudity and swearing, and can only air shows that feature those kinds of things at specific times or on specific channels as part of the safe harbor policy, which protects kids from accidentally seeing things they shouldn't. While here in the UK, that's more of a responsibility on the parent. Another example is US television is more serial-based. We have longer scripted shows that last for a few years, while the UK focuses on reality TV and the few scripted shows only last a few episodes. As far as the organizational structure of Crook Productions, there are about 2 to 3 different production companies that share a building. All of the executive producers and some of the researchers and editors are on the 3rd floor, as well as the front desk and secretarial office manager staff. It's nice having different people on different staff to share a similar office space because it gives us the opportunity to share and bounce ideas off of one another. A lot of the researchers tend to work across the different companies. Since we're all in the same building, it's not uncommon to be doing little bits of work and being assigned projects from each company. It can be a little confusing because since we're all kind of mixed, if I have a question about something I don't always know who to ask, who knows about the project, and who's working on the project, and so on. If I had to change the structure, I might maybe not separate the companies onto different floors, but I'd have some way to differentiate who works for which company. Maybe like having 2 tables set aside for one company, 2 tables set up for another company, all kind of in a row together. As far as technology goes, everyone works on either the Microsoft desktops or a personal computer, though this is really just the executive producers because they tend to keep track of other people's schedules as well as their own, which is easier to do on their own personal laptop. I use the desktop in a lot of Google Suite. I never was given a login or access to group documents, so I had to use a guest account and email people back and forth to send them the final projects and be given the various information that I would need to complete my work. For example, script teasers, synopses, previous research information, etc. Editors had access to the better, more expensive computers and software, often working on Apple Mac products, which makes sense since they need the better equipment to make the final product look as good as possible. I've learned a few shortcuts with Google Suite, but I haven't had much opportunity to really teach anybody anything aside from maybe a few cultural differences between here and the States. I worked primarily as a researcher for my time at Crook Productions. I spend a lot of my time looking for studies, experiments, and evidence to compile for various television ideas. This research determines whether there's enough backing or support to flesh out a TV idea and make it viable for a program. It's good to start somewhere and get an idea for what is necessary before a show can really even be brought to a network for review. I wish I had been able to learn a little bit more about the whole production process, as I would like to be a television producer when I graduate, but working in research has given me the appreciation for all of the work that it takes to flesh out a television idea. As I mentioned before, I did also have the opportunity to do some location scouting and treatment writing. Again, I wish I had had more opportunities to do these kinds of projects, as I feel that's the kind of first-hand experience that isn't always taught in classes. As far as cultural differences go, the only time I've worked in any kind of communications department has been at the college, so it's had that similar laid-back kind of style that I experienced at Crook Productions. Every other job I've worked in the States has not had this laid-back lifestyle. There's usually a separate office for the higher-ups and everyone else, and there's way less trust that people are getting their jobs done. Like I said before, a few of the people I worked with have had experience working in both the UK and the US, and have said that the atmosphere and processes are often pretty different. There are different rules for filming, and jobs are separated in different ways. Producers may be executive, creative, or line, which means they handle things like budgeting and paperwork, but companies in the States may lump all of those into one job and one person. I think my research skills have grown exponentially. I have made good use of the resources, the internet, and my school's access to online databases. I've learned to exhaust every avenue and to switch up what I'm working on from time to time to give it a fresh look and to do better work. I'm slowly getting better at writing synopses and treatments. Like I said before, I didn't really start doing them until my last week, so this is a skill that I would like to continue to work on and improve upon as I continue my studies and career. Working at Crook Productions has been an incredible opportunity, one that I'm very grateful to have had. I made good connections for my career who will be able to provide me with information and advice later on,